everyone, this is PamelaTopjian, and I was recently on a podcast called Kismet Stories, and it's just stories about different ways that people have found love that are not in the usual way or that felt like fate or the universe or whatever had brought them together. So I shared my story, and I am on my third marriage, and I am in my late 50s. So the whole purpose for doing this video is to give hope to those who no longer believe that love is possible, or maybe they don't believe that love is possible for them, or have just given up. So I already did a video on love. I don't remember exactly what I titled that, but I'll put that one down below. But it wasn't as much as my personal story. And what made me want to do this was, again, to show that it's possible, to show that there is still hope, no matter your age, no matter what you've been through. Because as a lot of you know, I have been through 2 abusive marriages, 2 toxic marriages. The first one was more of emotional and verbal abuse, and the second one was abusive in every way. So after that, I definitely said true love doesn't exist. I didn't really know that I believed in it anymore. Also, I definitely said I'm not going to get married again. No way would I ever get married again, no matter what. And then I had had some therapy. So obviously there was some childhood trauma. And I say obviously because a lot of times people get into abusive relationships or even just toxic relationships that you might not even consider abusive after having lived through some childhood trauma or even trauma in your early adulthood. So a lot of times we attract these types of partners. I don't know if it's the energy or just what you allow. So it's important to know that there is hope and that it's possible. And I would not be in the place I am in my life, married or not, but just I'm the happiest I've ever been. And I've been saying that for years because really since about 2020, every year, it's better and better and better. Not only my life personally, but the relationship. And that's a huge part of it. I really feel like when you are truly with your person, and we can use the word or the term soulmate or not. Some people don't believe that that's true, and some people do. I believe that their soulmates exist, but I don't necessarily, I'm not sure that I believe there's just one person. I think that it's possible that the universe is working in ways, or whatever you believe, whether it's your guides, whether it's God, or something, some other higher power, or something else. But the universe works in ways to bring you to your person, to bring you to your soulmate. And you make the decisions along the way, and it might be further and closer, but I think that it's always trying to bring you two together. And I think that it's likely that there's more than one of these people that you could potentially have this kind of truly loving and respectful relationship with. So the podcast, I think I already mentioned Kismet Stories, and I will put the link below to that channel. It's on YouTube as well as podcast platforms. So there's great stories on there, not just mine. And mine is not even up yet at the time of this recording, but I think it's a very good and much needed podcast and idea to show people, because especially in this current world of dating with all the apps and all the issues that come with the dating apps and long distance dating and people being catfished, which basically we used to call bait and switch, or almost like a clickbait type of thing. When you're dealing with meeting people online, that's one of the risks that come along with it. So the Kismet stories are stories of people who have met in other ways besides the dating apps. They might have both been on there and they might have seen each other on there, but how they met was not through there. So my personal story doesn't matter that much except to show you that you really never know. So as I said, I was in 2 abusive marriages previously, ended up having to go through some therapy after the trauma of those and my childhood trauma. And we were both just kind of dating casually here and there. We met on Reddit, and a lot of people don't necessarily know what Reddit is. There is a very sort of dark side, like there is to a lot of places online. There is a dark side, but there's also a very informative side as well, for information and making connections with whatever your hobbies and interests lie and stuff. So somebody was asking for dating advice on Reddit because it's like a forum where people ask questions and people answer. And there's different subreddit communities where you can go straight to the different interests in that. But there is one for dating advice. And so somebody had asked a question. We were both replying, and this is back in 2017. And we were both replying, and it was obvious that we were both a little bit older. So then he sent me a message because you can also private message there. And he was just joking about how much dating has changed. We got along so well, we just kept talking and chatting through the messaging on there. And then, so Reddit is worldwide. So the chances of really meeting somebody in your area are pretty slim. Unless you're on your local, because it does have local subreddit communities as well. So we started really just talking almost daily and got along really well. And we found out that we were born in a pretty close area. We had both grown up in the Midwest, currently living in California, and come to find out that we lived less than a half an hour, about 20 minutes from each other. So we decided to meet, and that was 2017. Within less than a year, we were living together. In 2020, we decided to get married, and it was mainly because we had different schedules and had been living kind of as roommates where we didn't really eat together. We didn't really have the same sleep schedule. I was working overnights certain times throughout these years that we had lived together. We lived together 3 years in 2020. So that's when we married. But we realized how well we got along, and our love just grew stronger for each other by spending 24 hours a day, 7 days a week together. It just grew stronger. And we were both so thankful that we weren't with any of our previous partners, that we were during this lockdown of the pandemic. So we just kind of decided, hey, we should get married, just make this a forever thing. And we did. So that was in 2020, and now it's 2025, and we just bought a house together. So I did another video manifesting a house. We were both in a very low place in our life when we first met. Like I said, I was going through therapy. He was working as an independent contractor, so he had different jobs at different times, was not real stable. All of his money that he was making was going towards his children that were still minors at the time, as well as alimony for his ex-wife. So he always wanted to make sure that they had what they needed, even if he didn't. So that was something I really admired. But anyway, so when we got together, we were both in very low spots. Neither one of us were stable. Neither one of us were, doing well personally. But every year together, we both did better and better, both personally and as a couple. And then when we got married, it just skyrocketed. It's almost like the universe said, yes, finally, you guys did it. So we made that commitment, and our personal lives, both, individually, personally, and as a team, as a couple, just got so much better and better, and everything just really was like accelerated action by the universe for us. And I think that love is the kind of thing that you can't really explain until somebody feels it. And if you're not sure, then that's probably not love, because you will be sure. You'll be sure of it. And one thing that I had mentioned in my interview with Kismet Stories was how a lot of people will talk about relationships is it's work. You have to work at it, and it takes work to keep it going and keep it well. So we've been together 9 years, married 5. So I know that that's not a whole long time, but we're older and we have been married before. And it's not work. It's not work to keep it good. It's just, it's so easy flowing. And that's a big part of it too. There are no eggshells to walk on. There's no lump in your throat not being able to express yourself or not being able to say something. So love is about trust. It's about respect. It's commitment, it's truly caring, understanding. So, all of these things are included with true, real love. You also care about your partner as much as you care about yourself. Just, mentally making sure that they're in a good space, just like you would for yourself, making sure they have what they need, for life, and nobody's perfect, and you're not expecting them to be perfect. Accepting them in that moment for who they are, whatever they're going through or whatever they have been through. It's an acceptance. Now, this does not mean that you bypass or look over something that is unacceptable to you. And that's a personal thing. What's acceptable for you might be different for somebody else. So I think that's important to recognize. So yeah, so we met just by interacting on Reddit where somebody was asking dating advice, and we got along really well, messaging each other. We finally met, realizing we lived close. We had all this stuff in common. We were both born in the Midwest and ended up in California in our adult years through totally different circumstances. And then, like I said, within the year we were living together. And then within 3 years from that, we were married. And now we've just bought a house. And every day with him is like a day with my very best friend. It's not hard, it's easy. It's just a very comforting spot. I feel fully supported. I feel fully loved. I feel fully accepted. And that's what it's all about. So there is hope for you, no matter what you've been through in your previous relationships, no matter how old you are, there is hope for you. And if you've been through any trauma, I think it's really important to get some help for that. I think that brings you to a good spot in yourself to be able to accept love, to be able to accept another person into your life, because the relationship is not just this person is coming into my life. It's really a team. So I'm not saying that everything was easy in the beginning. It was easy to get along with him. It was easy to talk to him, to be with him. And we had many moves. We had lived together somewhere where we were helping to take care of the property and the house and pets of somebody who was living outside of the state. So it was like a long-term house sitting situation. We had moved to where we were living in a room together in somebody's house, that we were renting a room. And then we had gotten our own apartment. And then we had gotten a much better apartment in a much better area. And then we just bought a house. So it's just elevating up and up and up. And the same year we got married, he got a really great promotion, which had helped me I was really suffering in my career as a nurse. Then I was learning hypnotherapy and doing pet sitting on the side. So it allowed me to let go of that nursing and do things that were more aligned with with things that I loved and things that I felt good about ethically, which there's a whole problem with nursing. This isn't a video to promote my books or anything, but I have a whole book on nursing, my nursing career, and I have another one. I didn't come this far to only come this far, which is my whole background. And at the end of that book is the beginning of us getting together and us getting married. So that's where that book ends. And I think it was 2022 that I published that book. But I'll put those links below for anybody who's interested. But yeah, I just wanted to give you some hope that love is real, that anybody can find love at any time, any place. And it doesn't have to be a marriage. You can be together forever without getting married. You can love somebody without getting married. It's kind of becoming a little more outdated. Not everybody feels like you have to be married to be in a committed relationship, but it just felt right for us. It was a good next step to make that commitment strong for us. So that's what we chose to do. And please, please check out Kismet Stories. I'll put those links below as well. Thank you for listening. I hope this has given you some hope for yourself if you are alone out there or if you have given up on finding your person.